Well, welcome everybody for another Marketing News Inc. interview. And we have Sonal in here, and we were just having a little bit of a conversation of as a lawyer, and then kind of like had a little sneak peek. But I'm going to go ahead and shine the spotlight to Sonal More. If you can go ahead and give us like a brief 30-second pitch. Sometimes I would ask 15, but you can go ahead and take it right away, Sonal.
Sure. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. I'm an internationally qualified lawyer, so I have 17 years plus experience, and my competencies are commercial transactions. I have always been known as a troubleshooter, so I get deals done.
Wow. Wow. That was like less than 30 seconds. That's amazing.
It's succinct.
Very concise.
It sounds like you've done this before.
Yes.
So,
Very cool. Wow.
yeah,
Go ahead.
we're overblown. Got blown out of the water. But anyways, it's always good to like talk to a lot of lawyers, and you specifically has like a unique topic, and that has to do with negotiation. And side note, my 5-year-old and any other like kids we have, younger ones, they know how to negotiate, but in adult life, how can we go ahead and do the same thing like little kids does?
I always think that the biggest issue that we have when we are negotiating is we always think from our side, what is it that I want? And my goal always is I want to sit on the other person's side. So if I'm going to negotiate with a 5-year-old, I want to think like a 5-year-old. My goal is to get a chocolate. And what are the strategies which worked for me? I'm going to throw a tantrum. I'm going to scream my head out. I know if I scream in front of my mom's or my dad's, friends or any other outing, I'm going to get my way. So I would always put myself in their shoes, no matter who it is, and then go from there and formulate my strategy from there.
Very nice. I mean, that was like out of kind of out of context, but but when you like tell us more about like, what is like negotiation strategies when it comes to like business or for those who are watching with us, I'm sure there are like, different sizes of like business, small business like us, mid size, and then large size. Like, can you give us like a little background of that?
Sure. So I have worked in all kinds of companies. I've worked in small law firms, I've worked in startups, and I've also worked with organizations with a huge global presence. And the thumb rule remains the same. Like I said, if I know who I am negotiating, then the context of it doesn't really matter. So if I have to give an example, I was negotiating with this lawyer at DHL, and I needed to ensure that I am getting the best deal for my company. So the first thing I did was I opened up his LinkedIn profile, and I wanted to see where he came from. He was from an Asian country too, but he had just joined DHL. So I knew that he wants to leave his mark. I knew that he's not the top gun. He has to go back to his manager or approver to get, confirmation that he can call the shots. So for me, the goal was when I'm negotiating, I have to put him in a position where he kept saying, I have to go back and check with my manager. And once the person says that to me 3 times, then that's the time when I would go back and say, you know what, let's do one thing, let's schedule another call, get your manager on the call, because I want someone I can negotiate and finalize the agreement with. That way you have already shown that you understand the subject matter, you know who you're negotiating with, and now I'm going to get what I want, but I want someone on the table, as opposed to you going back in a relaxed atmosphere and deciding with 10 people, should I agree to this or not? I want to put you on the spot to say yes or no. So you have to rely on what these people are saying. And I think that's also for us. We should never say, I want to go back to my manager and ask, because you just lost your power when you kept saying that. The opposite person knows you are not the person who's going to make the final decision. So I literally say, never say that on your call that I want to go back and check.
That's amazing that, doing a little bit of background work and understanding the deeper desires of where, like, negotiations is like kind of like, a thin line between whatever the positive and the negative part, right? And sometimes that's where it gets like nitty gritty. If not, it will go the wrong direction.
I mean, there are situations which happen. Like this instance that I told you was still a very balanced approach where the other person is still willing to talk. You will come across people who are simply going to say no, no matter what you suggest. It's more like dealing with an irate customer. No matter what you say, they're going to say no, no, no to everything, and they can be intimidating. They can be condescending. And in those kind of situations, you just have to take a step back because this is the time when you can actually lose your temper. And you're not supposed to lose your calm. You're not supposed to lose your temper. If you lose that, that means you cannot argue now. You lost your entire ability to argue, to make sense. So if you are in that position, you just have to sit there and ask them, fine, tell me what are the 5 things that you're willing to negotiate on, and we will talk about that. Because it seems you're going to say no to everything. So you tell me what are the 5 things that you would like to compromise on, and I will see whether I can work on those things. And generally, 90% of the time, they will tell you what they are willing to negotiate on. 10% of the time, you might hear, why should I negotiate anything at all?
Well,
And
yeah,
that's the time when you have to assess your risk. Is it really worth getting into this relationship?
I see. So that kind of like give us like a segue to your 3 tips when it comes to negotiation then.
You actually alluded to one already, but yeah, please give us the 3 so that way we can, we can expand on them as you drop them. Go for it.
Sure. And my first tip is, of course, do your background. Worry less about the context, worry more about who you're negotiating with. Always understand who you're going to deal with. Second, never lose your temper. If you feel you're going to lose your temper, please step back. Ask to drink a glass of water or say, just give me a minute, whatever. It's fine. You can always say, I got another call. It's all right. You can just step away. My third and final tip is always be nice. There are times when I really did not have any kind of justification for asking for things that I was asking for. But just because I was super nice to the other person during the conversation, I got away with it.
Oh, that's a good tip.
I literally just complimented them by simply saying, oh, wow, like, your document is so great. You've done such a great job. I've never seen it before. And he was so accommodating. He just accepted all my changes. And I was like, wow,
Nice.
this is another technique. So it's one of those things, you had a bad day, or you don't know what kind of a day a person has had. But if you talk nicely, you might just get away what you want.
Right, right.
Wow.
So,
I mean,
very quickly, I wanted to kind of tie into the entire strategy, because I feel like it's very there's a lot of, maybe even during negotiation in a sales call,
Yeah.
and even contract negotiations. What are like what are the reasons why us as entrepreneurs and small businesses would we need, like, when would we need these 3 strategies?
You would need this on a daily basis because you are dealing with new clients. You're dealing with individuals who want to promote your product or service, whatsoever it is. And most of the times we tend to look at it only, oh, if it's a big client, then that's the time when I'm going to pull my negotiation hat out. And now I'm going to be like, put my best foot forward. But this situation also helps when you're trying to hire people, or even when you're trying to engage people who are going to promote your particular service or product, because they have to believe in you before they believe in the product or service.
Right.
Your product could not be up to the mark. There might be 10 other products in the world which provide the same kind of output. But if you're nice to this person, they might just do everything for you. I mean, there are so many products and all of us buy. Right. The product might be crappy, but just because the individual promoting it is so good, you'll end up buying it. Mm-hmm. You would even promote it indirectly by saying, you know what, I came across this and this is great. Mm-hmm. If they ask you for the nutritional value, you might say, I don't know, you might get something cheaper somewhere else,
Right.
but you believe in it. So I guess we have to look at it like it's not just a negotiation strategy, it's more of a business practice, which unfortunately is not taught to us in our management schools or even in our management subjects. I was one of the few lucky people because I did do a certification from Harvard Business School, and these were some of the few things that we were talking about and experimenting on when we were working.
Very cool.
Wow. It does make sense when it comes to like, consumers, because we are naturally consumers and buyers. And that's where like the recommendation actually comes in as an
Right.
affiliate marketer myself.
Yeah.
And then normally we would go ahead and like, it's either that someone actually noticed something good of like, hey, I like your shirt, where'd you get that from, right?
Yeah.
And normally you would go ahead and say like, oh, I got it from Target. And of course they can, you really believe that it's like looking good. It's a belief system.
I mean, it's completely like, but they're completely relying on you, right?
Right,
Because
right.
you are wearing it and you're looking good and you justified the price for it. That's the same thing how Lululemon works. You look at it, somebody comes and tells you, oh wow, Lululemon's products are like so great, they last for such a long time, but you would constantly keep justifying it to yourself, is it worth buying $100 yoga pant? And then
That's
you might say, you know what, Old Navy has a similar thing and it's probably on sale for $20. So
yeah.
where are you going to go?
Yeah, that's very true. Remember that Tiffany had like a pin paperclip for like $500,
Yeah. It's a gold-plated paperclip. Yep.
gold plated. I mean, they put like a little like, stamp of Tiffany in there.
But the
Once-
reality is, though, if all things being equal, quality of the product and the actual product itself, the thing that stands out is support, right? If that's a software support, and that's why a lot of us like Costco and Amazon, because you can return and you get support right away with no questions asked, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's more expensive at Costco, I would buy anything at Costco because if I don't like it, I just go up the counter, I don't want this, and they take it, no questions asked, right?
Exactly.
That to me is priceless compared to everyone else who's probably selling it for cheaper, and but they're gonna give me trouble if I don't like it. And to be honest, I don't return much when I go like I don't return much, but that having that peace of mind, right? Like all things being equal, so the support is one thing that stands out, and another thing that stands out if it's recommended by a friend, right? Because
Absolutely.
their word holds so much power because you respect them, you love, you really like them, so they have a lot of power. And kind of like what you're saying, in negotiation strategies, you want to have kind of that, quote unquote power, right? Whether that's knowing who you're talking to, not necessarily like you knew DHL, you knew what they do, but who you're talking to is more important, like you said, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the core strategy of Starbucks. Why do we love to go to Starbucks? It's the entire experience. You get to have the same kind of experience when you go to Tim Hortons? Absolutely not. They don't care about you. They're not going to write your name on the cup. Let's be honest. Starbucks does mess up our names most of the times. They call you something else, they write something else. But if you just turn back and you say, you know what, you forgot to add one pump of syrup, they're not going to make a fuss about it. They're simply going to say, hold your cup, I'm going to make you a fresh one.
Yep.
The entire experience of it, the entire point that they've been told, don't sit and bargain with the customer that it's one pump which you charged 80 cents for, just give them another cup and it's over.
Yeah.
That's what will make you come back. Now, indirectly, they negotiated with you that now I'm more valuable to you. And I gave $10 worth of coffee for $5.
Yeah.
So now come back.
I see. Well, one thing for sure is that how can you help those, like, who are your target market and how can you help others to, like, when it comes to negotiation?
Yes. I mean, it's generally everywhere. I think I've even helped my friends when they're interviewing. Like you're interviewing for a job and you're trying to negotiate on the salary. If you go to a store and you want to bargain on anything, so your market when it comes to these kind of strategies is huge. You could be a vendor, you could be a customer, you could be a software service provider, or you could be someone who's getting a license, or
Mm-hmm.
even as simple as going and giving an interview for a job where they
Mm-hmm.
are trying to lowball you. How do you justify your worth to them, and how do you ensure that you get what is market price? At that time, again, doing a background check, having your market research history done in place to understand what's available in the market, what's going on, is key for these kind of situations.
I see. Can you give us like, what are you currently offering to our audience? So in that way they know, and if they are already looking for someone like you, like what are the things that the things that you're offering right now?
You mean in terms of the services that I offer as a lawyer? Okay. So I actually work for the government. So I'm one of the City of Toronto's lawyers. So I don't really provide legal advice, but I do provide legal aid. I do
Mm-hmm.
provide guidance and negotiation given my strategies and given the number of years of negotiating across the globe. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I offer for free. I don't charge anybody for that. I am a notary as well. So I do provide those services too.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that you're a notary also. That's pretty cool. I know that you hang out more on LinkedIn, so we're gonna go ahead and ask for where they can find you, how they can go get a hold of you and everything else. Can you, like, where do you usually hang out? Like, I already know LinkedIn, but do you have a Facebook group?
No, unfortunately, I'm not really active on Facebook. I am very active on LinkedIn, given it's a professional network.
Uh-huh.
But you can always get in touch with me in there. I'm very responsive. My profile is tagged as Sonal M.
Uh-huh.
You can just look for me and reach me over there.
I see. I'll go ahead and get everything that we needed when it comes to links, where to find you and how they can get a hold of you and everything else. But thank you so much, Sunal. Don't get off yet, but then to all of our audience who's watching this on live or on a replay, like you know what to do. You can go ahead and reach out to Sunal, and then we're gonna drop her links. And if you have any other questions, feel free to drop a comment or just directly reach out to her either on LinkedIn if you're on LinkedIn. But anyways, thank you so much everybody for tuning in, and I hope that you got some and apply all those three things when it comes to your negotiation, whether you are a business owner, you're a high ticket coach, you're a course creator or consultant, or even a whatever entrepreneur or brick and mortar, right? Or even an employee. But anyways, thank you so much